Hi, everyone, and welcome to the As I Amber podcast. I'm Amber, and I love to talk about music, travel, society, and pop culture. On today's episode, we have special guest to the show, Ocean. Say
Hey,
hey.
hey, everybody.
So, Ocean is a creative, a videographer. We had a couple of courses at Fort Valley State University together years ago, and he's still doing video and editing and all this wonderful stuff in the creative realm. So, tell them about yourself a little bit.
Like you said, we met at the Fort Valley State University. We were mass communication majors. I was rolling around there with my video camera, getting any and everything, and that kind of got me into the avenue of being a content creator before they even had a name for it. Me and a couple other of my fellow Wildcats, we were up in Atlanta. And we actually worked with a group that produced content for MTV and later on Revolt, and that just spawned some of everything. I mean, we got to put out a lot of content for those major entities, and like I said, it just kind of spawned into other avenues and learning different things. And I was always into data and social media, so I kind of went back to learn more about social media marketing and big data analyst and that kind of stuff like that. And
Yeah.
um, it's just been kind of media. I've been immersed in media in some capacity ever since. I'm on a podcast now, the Ninja Please podcast. We come out weekly. It's crypto, anime, TV, pop culture, politics, etc. I host my own show, Tulip Mania, on the longest running crypto YouTube channel, Gentlemen of Crypto, that comes out on Saturdays as well. And I also do roundtable discussions with a host of other content creators from around the planet who do similar stuff as me, and people who don't. So it's always good to have people who are on the opposite spectrum of what you do.
Yes, it is. And speaking of the opposite spectrum of what we do, as you may or may not know, June is considered Black Music Month. And on this episode, Ocean and I will be talking about legendary videographer, music producer, Mr. Hype Williams. So, this kind of light bulb went off in my head a few years ago. VH1 did an honor of Hype Williams, all the legendary music videos he's done for major hip hop and R&B artists. And I was like, no one really talks about him. He's kind of a mystery, or he's, low key, I would say. And I just wanted to talk about him because music videos kind of help push a song or a single get more popular. I can say that for the 80s and 90s, we didn't have TikTok.
Yeah.
This is before YouTube. This is when you had to watch The Box, MTV, Yo MTV Raps, 106 in Park, Rap City, all those shows to watch the music video. You couldn't listen to it 800 times and play it over and over again. You only
could if you recorded it.
You could record it. You could record it or make sure you came home at a certain time to watch the music video.
Yeah.
So it's like we're old, but we're not.
I mean, I talk to my friends about that. Our generation, we came out on the best of analog technology and the beginning of digital technology to where it is now. Mm-hmm. So, we had, think about the gizmos that we grew up with. You remember the talk boy from Home Alone and, mm-hmm. just that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And to translate it over to Hype Williams, he talked about it because I watched the interview that you sent me. Mm-hmm. He talked about how when he was doing the videos with Missy Elliott and Busta Rhymes and all that, that wasn't digital. It was bins and bins and bins and bins of film, analog. I mean, so it's a different skill set that you even have to have. I was blessed to be in the local 600 film union for a while in Atlanta, and I learned how to load film manually. It's film. It cannot be exposed to light. So you have to put it in a dark tent. And you just have to room. Away. Yeah, Well, no, it's just a tent that's outside. Really? It's just to load it into the magazine to go into the film. It's just a tent outside and it's pitch black dark in there. And you have to, feel around. You have to do this with your hands. So just and you have to think about the effects that Hype Williams put into them. All that stuff was manual. You know, now I can click a button. I got Final Cut Pro, I got Adobe. I can click a button and it's nothing. This stuff they had to manually splice film together. Like it's his artistry, I feel like, is undervalued and understated. And it's simply because we weren't in an era where you knew the directors like that. Hype has always been that mysterious. Lil X is mysterious like that, to where you don't know them. And they didn't have social media back then. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have this constant inundation of things. And like you were saying, how the music videos pushed a lot of these singles over the top, or they exposed a lot of video to these people. Before MTV, there was a African American by the name of Ralph McDaniel. The great Ralph McDaniel was the person that started the box. The box was one of the greatest inventions. I didn't have cable in my room, so all the videos I saw on MTV, you know, before they went to BT and stuff like that, it was on the box. And the box was everywhere. It was down south, but it was mainly started in New York, but it matriculated down south. And when you look at those old Hype Williams videos shot in black and white, or shot in fast motion, or shot at these extreme angles, you can't help but, you know, have to give him his flowers while he's living. And I also feel like, as far as, you know, if you throw in the hood movies, Belly was one of the most beautifully filmed movies. It's up there. It's up there with anything that Scorsese can do, or Tarantino, or Spike Lee. So I could talk about Hype Williams forever. Like, he doesn't get his due credit. And I mean, he innovated so much cut scenes, and even how I film, even how I make my jump cuts. I'm
so happy that I have someone that is a videographer, that you broke that down and explained the analog, like physical film. Like, this wasn't no button Final Cut Pro, like you were saying. They literally had to have this much film. And I was watching an interview where so many of the music executives, you know, this is back in the day when music deals were cut differently. You know, now people get a 360 deal and they get all this money up front and they got to make it on the back end, blah, blah, blah. But music videos were multi-million-dollar, thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just think about, I'm a little bit younger than you, but I remember the big Pimpin music video with UGK and Jay-Z, and the opulence, the people, the champagne, the logos, the brand endorsements that came from the music video, because people wanted to be what they saw in the bling bling, you know, shiny suit era.
And Hype was vital to that. He filmed most of that stuff, and a lot of, I don't know if people remember MTV's Most Expensive Videos. You know, that used to come out and they used to give you the running tab on this. I think Michael Jackson's video with Janet Jackson is still the most expensive video.
Screen.
But Big Pimpin' was up there, and I Can't Stand the Rain, Missy Elliott was up there
with her garbage bag. Her garbage bag in rain. And I
mean, but just think about like how, like, I can't remember exactly what year that came out. I remember being young, but I just remember how insane it looked. I never saw a fisheye lens. That's what it's called when it's all big and I never saw that.
Hype was in 2022 back in 1997. Like,
when I sent you the list. When I sent you the list of the videos, I was like, damn, I really cannot narrow it down. Because I don't want to leave out, like, I want to get a good, you know.
Hey, we're gonna get to that soon. But one of the things that I was like curious about Hype Williams is, like, he's mysterious, but I think that is a missing art form today. because now the producers and the behind the scenes
Directors,
people want to be
they
the
want to be,
star now.
they want to be the celebrity so bad. Like it is crazy. Like
And
directors really
mhm,
want to be the stars, and it's like, bro, that's not your job. Like you're not there to be
yeah.
a personality. You know,
And the
you're
thing
there for the
about it, like
artistry of it.
you're saying, the industry is just a little different now. Um, like for instance, let's say you got someone that produced the music video and it's now being based on views. You
Yeah,
know, we can click a button and see views, but the way people consume music has changed.
yeah,
So the music video might not have had a lot of views because those video outlets like 106 and Park and TRL are not on here no more because we got YouTube and it's international and you don't have to have cable to watch YouTube. I think it's a different form. Do you think like people are missing out on videos in 2022 or are they watching
no,
more?
no. I think that people are definitely absorbing more content than they ever have been before. I think the not necessarily the problem, but an issue would be uh, they might curate something exclusively for their taste, and they won't go outside of a certain parameter.
Mm,
MTV, the box, those type of they had programming directors, and programming directors are people who
yeah.
put the they for people who don't know, program directors on a radio station is the person that puts songs in order, and on TV is they the person that put the shows and the music videos in order. That type of thing, I mean, it comes from years and years and years and decades of being in that industry. When you can just click on YouTube and have an algorithm tell you that, hey, you like this song, so you probably like this song, and it just sends you down this rabbit hole. Your taste becomes predictable and curated, and you get things disseminated to you that you probably wouldn't normally absorb, which can be a bad thing, and it can also be a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of like I'm more of an open-minded person when it comes to music and stuff, so
Mhm.
I like literally everything. It sounds good, I like it, and so I can go down those rabbit holes. But I also know how algorithms and those type of things work. So I mean, I'm kind of cognitive of those things. People don't realize that you can take NBA young boy. He's not somebody that's necessarily mainstream as far as radio and just a mainstream thing, but he is a huge artist. He is a 100 million views on YouTube type of person, and so I mean it's just slightly different than um, having gatekeepers.
Mm, yeah.
Um, it's not when we were coming up, the gatekeepers with Timberland and Diddy and Master P and all and Rockefeller and stuff. And so now there isn't many barriers to entry, as they would say. Like it's not too many things that are stopping somebody from being in a random place in Wisconsin and putting out a video and it going viral. So it has its pros and its cons. I mean, I won't necessarily say it's a bad thing, and I won't
Mhm.
necessarily say it's a good thing. It's kind of what a
You make
person makes it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you, I know I asked you earlier, but on the show, what are your, regardless if it's a video, music video, what are your top five Hype Williams produced projects?
Belly is my favorite, hands down. The Missy Elliott video, I Can't Stand the Rain,
Mhm.
Still Dre, Diamonds, Kanye West, uh,
Mhm.
and Dr. Birds, the Griselda, like one of his latest videos he did in 2020. Um, and it looked like a Hype Williams video. It was in black and white, but the effects that we were just talking about, they're digital now. All those effects were in color. So I mean, it was just really interesting to see that he still has his finger on the pulse
Oh yeah.
of what to do. So those are my all time.
So I have kind of mixed feelings about certain videos because I remember when elementary, middle school, TLC, No Scrubs came out, and it looks super futuristic. And I'm thinking this came out, Fan Mail came out in 1999. So that was like 22 years ago almost, and well, 23 almost. Well, it's just time has passed, and I look at that music video I saw it the other day, and I was like, that's what people thought today would look like.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how we're kind of there, but
Yeah.
we're not with
Yeah.
the digital TV screens and all that kind of stuff, which was pretty cool back then. And I used to love MTV's Making the Video, as well as BET had their version called Access Granted.
Yeah.
And I recall like yesterday, it took me a long time to like the video, or not like it, but to watch it without feeling some type of way. And that was Aaliyah's Rock the Boat video that was produced by Hype Williams.
Yeah.
It was so gorgeous. Like
Yeah.
the scenery and the green screen and everything was just beautiful. And I often wonder how I never heard him verbally talk about it, but how he felt about that piece of art, because that's like literally she filmed that video and she like sadly passed away so tragically, but that music video was just like phenomenal. Like it took me a minute to appreciate it, because I used to just change the channel anytime it came on back when she first passed away. I was like, I don't want to
Yeah.
see that. But it took me a while to appreciate like the art and the scenery and the just the colors and the underwater camera scene.
I gotta go back. I I've I only remember like maybe the beach scenes, and
Mhm,
I remember the color, and what he also does very well is symmetry. A lot of his shots are very symmetrical,
mhm.
and to scale. And it's like I said, it's I definitely remember that about that Aaliyah video. And like you said, kind of wondering like, that was the last thing that she was able to film, and they had to release it posthumously.
Right.
Um, who knows what other type of videos he would have created from that? Because I mean, his videos to me were always tasteful. They were never like overtly raunchy.
Mhm.
I think Missy Elliott probably had the most raunchiest videos out of the ones he recorded, but I mean, it's Missy Elliott. It was
Yeah.
she has, the shock values is kind of her thing, but his videos weren't like, women in thongs on poles and
Yeah.
stuff in an era where that was very popular.
Mhm.
His videos really were small movies,
And
which
yeah.
when I go back and look at Belly, it's of course the actors that were in it too, but I mean, just the
And that,
shots that were
yeah.
in there, and just the opening scene of Belly to me will always stand out. With
Mm.
them going to the club and the strobing lights and the fluorescent background and the eyes with like he put contacts in. Like I mean, it was just so much attention to detail in those things that'll always live on forever. Like I mean, that will always be a staple in black films and just film in general. Like it's
Mhm.
it's you know it's
And another video that was attention to detail was Busta Rhymes' "Put Your Hands on My Eyes Can See." So everybody knows the beat.
yeah. I
Everybody
couldn't
knows the
remember.
little
I couldn't
bass
remember who
line, but
did
it
that
was
video.
coming to America. The theme was coming to America. So it was like a mini movie. Because it's like, this look familiar. And they're like, oh, he's supposed to be Prince Akeem or whatever. And I like how they paid homage to other videos in that one video. I had to go back and watch some of them, because you forget about how epic that time frame was to watch a music video. Another music video that stood out to me was Craig Mack's "Flavor in Your Ear"
Hmm.
remix. It's just black and white. The whole
Yeah,
video is just Biggie and Diddy bopping on across the screen, and it was just simple, but it was like iconic at the same time. And another video for me was Brandy sitting up in my room from the Waiting to Excel soundtrack. She had like a purple, I don't know, TV, and that particular TV was showing scenes from the movie.
Yeah.
So it was like the shots were just so intricate and it was colorful and it was like upbeat and it matched the song. And I don't think people are thinking about that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when you make a video, if that song is upbeat and happy, the video needs to match the
Yeah.
vibe of the song. That's just
I
my
agree.
two
Like I
cents.
said, people don't, and not to bash anybody. I mean, a lot of the people are in it for money, which I
Yes.
mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you work for money. Like if you know, I get it, but a lot of the stuff that I see from people is monotonous. It's like a replicated thing. A lot of it is just, and to me, it's like you don't have to do that. You can literally, like you said, just stick a camera right there and let the artist do themselves. Because the Craig Mack video you mentioned is black and white. The Diamonds video that I like is black and white. Uh, Belly's parts have the black and white in them, or the shades of gray. The Griselda video is black and white. So I mean, that's something that's a staple to Hype Williams. Is having that black and white video. Like when he puts out a series, it's always going to be a black and white video from somebody.
Yeah.
And like it's the storytelling that he did in there. Mary Jane with Scarface.
Mm.
The it was a story in that video, and I mean, it looked, that video looked like the song. And Hype Williams references that when he was a child, rap wasn't a thing. So they had like soul music. Stevie Wonder was a heavy influence, and so he kind of narrated things in his head. And I don't want to put words in his mouth. I mean, I kind of understand that. Like when I hear certain music that I work when I work with artists, I visualize things and I try to make it something synonymous with the actual whatever they're saying. Now, like you said, it's just how many guns can you put in this video? How many, how much, how vulgar can you be? Yeah.
You're right. And speaking of vulgarness, like the first music video that was like banned or, they had to put it on BT Uncut late night was Big Pimpin' video. But people were watching it like it made the song what it is. Like it was provocative, but it got the people going because that time period, it was a lot going on with the video vixens.
I mean, that
before
was the video
Instagram.
vixen era.
Yeah. But
It was the video vixen era before surgeries.
Before surgery.
So I mean, it was just, or before those type of surgeries. I'm not gonna say they definitely.
Yeah, they had surgeries back then, but it wasn't as blatant like today. I wanted to go down a little list for y'all who don't know. Y'all can YouTube it and Google it. But these are just some of the videos that Hype has directed. One More Chance, Biggie Smalls, California Love, Tupac, Hate Me Now, Puffy, at the time he was Puffy, and Nas, The Rain, Missy Elliott, Mo Money, Mo Problems, Puffy, Mace, Biggie. Let's see, Caught Out There by Khalees. What They Really Want, DMX and Cisco. Another one, Rain on Me, Ashanti. That had a whole storyline in the music video. And then we got Gold Digger, Kanye. We got Check on It, Beyonce, the Pink Panther soundtrack. That was a music video that he directed. We got What's It Gonna Be, Janet and Busta Rhymes. Like the list goes on and on and on. And it's like most of these artists that we consider greats or legends now, they had a Hype video. If you don't have a Hype Williams video, you're really not popping to me.
$1 billion Hype video too. It ain't no. And I like how what's the name of the MTV show that showed you the videos?
Making the video.
Mm-hmm. I used to love that video growing up, and the very first thing I got to record for MTV was I got to do the behind the scenes footage for the Usher and Rick Ross video "Touching You" in Atlanta.
Wow.
And that was Chris Robinson who did that.
Hmm.
There's another director who I think that doesn't get enough credit for the great work that he's done. But getting to see that behind the scenes work, like, getting to really be there and seeing like, yeah, they're really doing this thing in 3 to 5 days, and now they're doing it in a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then
Since you've
then
worked
they
behind the scenes of a music video, what is something that, let's say, regular people who aren't in the videography industry, what is something that would like blow our minds or something that we don't think about when they make music videos?
it's a lot of logistics that goes into it. If the place that they filmed that video at, that was somebody's house that they rented. And so you
Mhm.
had to drive to another location. It's a shuttle that picks you up and then drives you to that location. And there's hundreds of PA, well, not hundreds, it's a lot of PAs running around, taping stuff up, making sure that you're not messing things up. But it's just a lot that goes into doing a video for a major artist.
Mhm.
More than just cameras and lights. You gotta have power. You gotta feed that crew. You gotta make sure that crew is hydrated.
You
You
gotta
gotta
have
make sure the artist,
permission to
yeah, you gotta
record.
make sure the artist ain't doing nothing crazy. It's crazy. Shootings and robberies happen at video shoots. Like it is a real thing in rap. I don't know why, but that type of wildness does happen. I mean, you gotta have security. It's a lot that goes into a music video.
Mm.
Um, and it's a lot of money that goes into them too.
That's my next question. In 2022, how are people paid for music videos now? Or
Uh,
they just know they have to use it as, promotion and get paid on the back end or something?
I've done a couple of things. I've gotten paid directly from a label.
Mhm,
Said this is the project that we want to do. We're paying you this amount.
mhm.
I've also gotten paid directly from artists too.
Mhm.
I've gotten paid from a manager, so it kind of just depends on the situation. Um, Typically, though, there's different production crews in different cities that do things. Up in Atlanta, there's Motion Family, there's Perfect Tape, there's a lot of them up there. And generally, you have your A-list celebrities that have people, and what happens is they used to go through a label. Like I said, Chris Robinson and all of those people. Like it's a lot of people who used to shoot videos that still do shoot videos now. But a lot of it now you're starting to see is more vertically integrated. The artist has a team. The artist has a creative team. The artist already has a videographer in house that'll produce most of the content, and then that content creator will likely produce a lot of their videos. But then when they are about to drop an album or they got a big single or something like that, then they'll reach out to somebody that's more notable
Mhm.
to film, because usually in-house people don't have $40,000 Aris at their disposal, and
Yeah,
fifty
yeah.
thousand dollar Red Dragons, and or Black Magic cameras and things like that. So when they want to get that 4K, 6K, 8K video, when they want that look, because it's a look that comes with it, it's usually if it's an A-list artist, it's usually a label involved, and that label is like, okay, we want to pay you.
So y'all hear that, folks? So if you want to make a music video, you know the steps and procedures by listening to what he just said. And everybody got to start somewhere, whether that be TikTok, YouTube, your cell phone.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody's going viral off of little stuff now. People getting paid for content. So don't sleep
Yeah,
on yourself.
now it's a lot easier because, like I said, I was a content creator before they had a name
Labeled it.
for it.
Yeah.
They just called us media specialists back then. But I mean, we were content creators, and like you said, TikTok. I work with a lot of people in the beauty industry and the hair industry.
Mhm.
Um, and they create reels and these things like that. And the reels that they make on TikTok get proliferated on other social medias, Instagram being the big one. And when they get on Instagram and they're doing 50,000, 100,000 views, you start getting checks from it from Meta.
Yeah.
They'll start asking you your information to send you money. Um, and it's you don't need permission. There aren't any gatekeepers anymore. If you want to make a video, make it, put it out. Um, Now getting it shown is a different ball game and a different uh, podcast that we're gonna have to do. But getting it there, make it, get it, put it out.
Y'all hear that? Don't sleep on your talents. It's so many people who I think feel like they don't want to do anything because they feel like, I don't have this or I don't have that and I don't have blah blah. Use what you have.
Yeah.
Use what you
Um,
have.
when I was doing stuff for MTV, I had a really crappy camera compared to what I have now. Like, I mean, it was what I could afford at the time, and it was decent, and it did the job. But I mean, I had to rent equipment. I had to rent equipment, and I was getting gigs off of Craigslist. I
Mm,
would go on Craigslist, go up under gigs, and they had TV, video, and film up there, or personnel, or just whatever.
mhm.
And a lot of it was BS. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of it was pure unadulterated BS. But more often than not, and more times than not, some of the some of the biggest projects I've done came from uh Craigslist
Wow.
that I found independently. Now, working with MTV and Revolt, you work with A-list artists, their managers, you talk to their managers, da 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 da. I've done stuff like that, and that's been great too. But on my own, like stuff that I've found, the biggest things I've ever found were on Craigslist. And I tell people this all the time. I have to try to find this email, but I promised that the show Atlanta was looking for PAs on Craigslist before it came out, or at least I felt like it was that show.
Mhm.
It was centered around two cousins. One of them was a rapper, and the other one was managing the
Yeah.
cousin. Now,
Paperboy sound
yeah.
like.
Now, in this one, it was saying that the relative moved from the West Coast out here or something like that. But they were looking for I still feel like to this day that shit. I mean that was definitely the show Atlanta,
Uh-huh.
uh, and they wanted me to do something for free. And at that time, I was making money consistently, and I was still doing things for free, but I didn't want to do that for free.
Mm.
I didn't want to do what they were asking, and I mean it wasn't that it was major or a lot. It was just that I had already had things on my schedule.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I might have missed out on working on Atlanta through Craigslist, but I don't know. That might not have been Atlanta at all.
Hey.
It might have been somebody trying to traffic me, human trafficking, to put me in a van.
Yeah, you don't know. That's the thing about being a creative. You see a lot of things for promotion or exposure, and you're like, I got other stuff going on, and I got this, and I got that. And I think what's meant for you will be meant for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the end, you never know. They might call you up again or email you again, or you never
Yeah,
know how life, the bridges that the people that you meet, you never know how people's paths cross again. So,
yeah,
that's not to say that everybody's your friend or something, but you just don't know how life be life and
yeah. It's gone life. And that to me, consistency is something that's just not tangible.
mm,
Uh, Nobody is going to be around when you're in the gym shooting those free throws. Nobody's around when you're practicing. Nobody, I remember doing videos and things and stuff on my own when it was one person on the chat. Um, and even now, like when I put out things independently, I might get a couple hundred views. I don't get the thousands of views that I used to
mhm.
get. But that's just not the avenue that I was on. It's just you have to put yourself out there and not be afraid. And the more you do it, the more unabashedly or unapologetically you become. And the authenticity to me is what ends up paying in the long run. A lot of people fake it till they make it, and they get to a certain situation when they get called on, they cannot handle it because they've been faking the whole time. I mean,
Message.
it
Yeah.
gets
Yes.
any outside of being a doctor, engineer, things like that. Being a creative is one of the hardest things to do on the planet. It's not hard to do in the sense of doing it, but it's hard for it to generate revenue. So if you generated anything, $1.50, a like, a share, subscribe, anything from it, you are in a very small minority of people on this
Mhm.
planet. Like it's not people on this planet that can do what we can do. And
Thank you for that. Like, this makes perfect sense. I know we've been talking, we can go on and on about hype and so many different things, but I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to hop on this podcast and talk about this because I just feel like a lot of people don't get their flowers while they're alive.
yeah, even you,
And
I've been following you for a while. Like I really truly have been following your stuff for a while. Like you have
appreciate
been
that.
consistently putting out stuff, and I know that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you might be doing the exact same thing, but you won't be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was telling somebody that I was talking to one of my friends, she's a graphic designer, and we're like, we're doing the same thing we did in middle school. And it was like, what? What do you mean? So it's like making websites. We were coding on MySpace. We were creating playlists on those websites and those skill sets. No one taught us how to do certain things. We just kind of figured it out as
Yeah,
technology emerged and evolved. And I think those skill sets don't sleep on your skill sets.
yeah. Even me, like I didn't recognize that in myself too. I've always been into photography. I've always been into videography. I was always tinkering with cameras. I have actual film cameras. That's how I learned photography. My first camera was actually a film camera from the 1970s.
Mm.
It was all manual. Like you had to do everything on that camera manually. So that's when I got an actual digital camera in my hand. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. I don't have to do this stuff manually because I don't know how to develop film, but I would get them developed. And I mean, I would take 25 pictures on that thing. And I mean, 17 of them would be what I want, but it'd be a lot of them that, where aperture was open too much or the shutter speed wasn't this. But those mistakes made beautiful results in themselves, and you learn from that. Like I learned so many camera tricks just from having manual cameras. Like I can do everything manually and I
Yeah.
film manually because I do things. I'm used to having an analog camera.
And one thing about being a creative, whether you are editing video, audio, uploading something, it will teach you patience, whether you want to learn it or not, because we're so instant now, like with the smartphones or digital camera, we see our photo, we see our video right then and there. And I'm just thinking about how like Hype Williams, when you finally saw the product, whether it took 2 months or all of it put together,
Yeah,
you really are extra proud because you didn't get an opportunity to see your picture right then. You had to wait. And
yeah,
it's kind of like, I
yeah.
guess,
When I
yeah.
work with certain artists, we do a video, man. We might edit that video that same night and have a rough draft to them within hours.
Wow.
Like have the first edit to them within hours of like we'll while somebody's breaking all the equipment down, somebody's loading up film on the computers. Somebody's getting the first crack. And I mean, like the last video we did, we had a lot of stuff go wrong. We ended up having to go, we ended up having to change a lot of stuff and losing 6 hours. So we had to stay 8 hours.
Wow.
We didn't finish till 3 o'clock in the morning, and we still had a rough draft to them the next day, like before 12. I didn't even go to sleep. I took like a 15-minute nap and drove home at 6 o'clock in the morning because I was there doing the first edit. Then I clicked that and left, and let the other team take care of it, and it was done within our turnaround time is a week at the most. But I mean, we'll turn a project around depending on what it is in 24 hours
Wow.
because of just the technology. Stuff is
Mhm.
preloaded now. We already know the marks we want to hit and everything. It's almost mechanical in what we do on
So
certain things.
so before we end the show, before I ask, what would you tell a younger generation if they want to learn how to video edit, if they don't have a computer but they want to learn those things, what would you tell them?
Um, Start with your phone.
Mhm.
Start with any phone. It doesn't have to be an iPhone. It can, I film things on phones. Before I got my first DSLR camera, I had a point and shoot camera
Mhm.
that I recorded videos on. Find free software. We was talking with my friends the other day. A lot of my friends do music. I always did video. I wanted to rap, but I knew I sucked. And I told them that they suck too. And I'm glad that I did because they became productive men in society and then try to become rappers. And they thank me to this day. But while we were doing that, um, we needed audio software. And the
Mm.
audio software that we wanted to use was like $500. And we didn't have that. So there was this one audio software that was $69 or $150 or something like that. And so we got our money, went to Best Buy, bought it, put it on the computer, took it back, said it didn't work. They gave us a brand new one. We took that one to a new store, got our money back, bought equipment with that money. So do what you got to do is what I'm basically saying. Do what you have to do. If I've seen kids in Africa that don't have a computer draw on a chalkboard to scale an entire Excel spreadsheet and teach a classroom on how to do Excel, and they don't have electricity.
Mhm.
And
That is
um,
amazing that you
look
just
at
said that.
look at third world countries media. I look at a lot of media from international. Africa is very huge in
Mhm.
film, and they don't have the resources that we have over here. And so a lot of times they kind of make effects and they're wonky. It's like movies in the 70s on some of this stuff. But I'm sorry, I thought
Oh, it's like,
uh,
yeah.
but if look at low budget films like with strings hanging down and stuff like that. I mean,
Mhm.
do what you have to do.
Thank you for saying
I'm not saying break the law. I'm not
yeah.
saying do what we do, but I mean, do what you got to do. Get you a get you a phone, put it on your computer, download iMovie. That's a free app. Download Windows Movie Maker. I used to use that. That's free.
Mhm.
And learn the basics. You can learn editing. You can learn the basics in those programs. And when get in school, I wouldn't go to a for-profit school like a Full Sail or anything like that.
Mhm.
I have my own ideologies about those type of schools, but get into a school, man, that has a computer lab that has those programs and use them. I used to use them on my school's computer, so I went and bought my own.
Mhm.
Do
Thank
what
you
you need
for
to do.
sharing that. I think that's so important that we look at sometimes what we don't have or the equipment is not this or it's not that, but we got to use what we have. So thank you for sharing that. Where can people
Light,
follow
this
you?
light that I got is my son's light.
Wow.
Like I took it out of his room because all of my lights are at my friend's house for my show tomorrow. So I was like, I need a light. So do what you need to do.
Yeah. Where can people follow you, Ocean?
Uh,
All the socials or what?
Instagram Tony underscore Mon camera MON camera.
Mhm.
Twitter Ocean 20111. It's supposed to be 2011. I added an extra one when I made it. Um, I'm on there. I'm on those. And, uh, you can also catch me on the Ninja Please podcast and the Gentleman of Crypto YouTube channel.
And you all know where to find me at asiamber.com and on the socials at asiamber, ASIAMBER. And leave a review, leave an iTunes review, follow his podcast, do all those things, like, subscribe, share, and let us know what's your favorite hype volume video. Thank you so much for listening. Good afternoon or good night. Bye.